Hey everyone, this is Sun Storytelling, and I'm a part-time coach and creative writing student. My desire to create videos stems from my love for storytelling, which includes the anime, cartoons, and movies I grew up with, including Cartoon Network, Toonami, and early Marvel, which have profoundly influenced my perspective as a whole. In this YouTube series, I will explore how fighting series can effectively use Powerscaling to create engaging narratives. I will specifically focus on what I refer to as the benchmark character, typically an overpowered figure, and how balancing this character within the Powerscale is essential for narrative success. I'll outline a 3-step process for developing such an OP character. Goku is a prime example of a well-crafted benchmark. Please note that I'll be referencing and possibly spoiling many influential fighting mediums, so be aware of potential spoilers. Throughout this series, we'll analyze what happens when the benchmark character, the overpowered or OP one, is too dominant or poorly integrated into the story. We'll see how this impacts the development of other characters and the overall flow of the narrative. By examining both successful and flawed examples, we will uncover the storytelling techniques that can make or break a fighting series. As you watch, I encourage you to reflect on your own favorite fighting series. Consider how they balance the Powerscale and feature overpowered characters. What narrative formats do they follow? Are there aspects you wish can be improved upon? That's ultimately the goal of this series. In a fighting series, the balance of Powerscaling, especially how characters measure against a benchmark, greatly influences the narrative. When executed well, this balance fosters a coherent and engaging story. Conversely, mishandling it can disrupt character arcs and skewer the overall plot. My goal is to share insights on crafting compelling stories by exploring key narrative elements across various mediums. I aim to enhance my writing journey while helping others develop their storytelling skills by emphasizing the importance of balancing certain narrative elements within a series structure. In today's intro video, I'll focus on examining these concepts as they manifest in different formats, like TV shows, anime, and different movies. We'll analyze examples from these mediums to highlight 3 key elements commonly found in fighting series, looking at both positive and negative instances of Powerscaling related to benchmark characters to understand how they work together and what doesn't work together. Before we dive into the 3-step rule in our examples, it's crucial to define some key terms and understand how they influence storytelling in fighting series. First, let's clarify what we mean by Powerscaling. Powerscaling, which is distinct from power systems, refers to how characters acquire and utilize their abilities within a narrative world. A power system, on the other hand, defines the specific rules on governing those abilities. While Powerscaling focuses on characters' relative strengths, power systems outline the mechanics behind those strengths. Before we dive into the 3-step rule and our examples, it's crucial to define some key terms and understand how they influence storytelling in a fighting series. First, let's clarify what we mean by Powerscaling. Powerscaling, which is distinct from power systems, refers to how characters acquire and utilize their abilities within a narrative world. A power system, on the other hand, defines the specific rules governing those abilities. While Powerscaling focuses on the character's relative strengths, power systems outline the mechanics behind those strengths. Powerscaling is essential in narratives as it establishes a framework that adds depth and structure, significantly impacting conflicts and character dynamics. In a fighting series, nearly all share a Powerscaling system. While there's no universal method for creating such systems, a common approach is to introduce a previously established overpowered character, or the benchmark, which is what all other characters are measured to. This benchmark character typically follows 2 paths, either maintaining their status or preparing a successor to take their place. The successor does not always have to be trained or taught by the benchmark. They may emerge from the cast of characters striving to surpass them. This flexibility can add richness to the narrative when used effectively. This benchmark influences how the story unfolds, with the rest of the cast either aspiring to reach or surpass them, forming our Powerscale. Notable examples of benchmark characters include Goku from Dragon Ball Z, Yujiro from Baki, Homelander from The Boys, and Toph from The Last Airbender. I will explore these examples in much greater detail later, but I wanted to provide these quick references to clarify my points and give you a clear picture of where I'm headed. A poor example of Powerscaling to me is Superman. The writers often make him so overwhelmingly powerful, which can feel so forced and unearned. He doesn't seek a successor despite potential candidates in the universe and remains the benchmark character most of the time. Ironically, while he frequently complains about being that benchmark, he doesn't mind being at the center of attention. The real issue isn't his prominence, it's that he is often the only one capable of facing major threats, causing other characters to feel stagnant. While there are other examples of this in various series, Superman's narrative highlights this issue the most. I'll explore other examples later, but I wanted to clarify this point. Importantly, not every power scaling system requires a single overpowered character. Some may feature multiple overpowered characters, complicating this dynamic even further. You may notice that in some shows, the power scale isn't at the center of the narrative, but plays a huge role. A character arc may strive to surpass the benchmark for various reasons for the story or just for themselves, and when one eventually does, it feels earned and deserved, if done correctly. This emotional weight adds depth to the narrative, enhancing the impact of character development and conflict. This is why I aim to provide reference points from different series to measure character strengths and weaknesses when establishing a benchmark. The balance or imbalance of this benchmark character within the power scale can greatly affect the narrative's flow and coherence. If mishandled, it can disrupt character arcs, skewer the story's tension, and make the plot feel unbalanced. So, what exactly is an overpowered character? Now that we have a few clear references, an overpowered character is someone whose abilities far exceed what's considered balance within the story. They are often depicted as nearly invincible, which can serve as both a narrative asset and a potential pitfall. Their overwhelming power can disrupt the tension in the plot, making it challenging to maintain an engaging narrative. This is why balancing the benchmark character within the power scale is essential. It's not just about having a strong character, it's about ensuring that their presence enhances the story rather than undermines it. Achieving this balance is key to creating a crafting narrative that feels organic and satisfying, particularly in a fighting series where character dynamics are central to the plot. Let's explore into what not to do by diving into our first example. In the TV show The Boys, based on the comics, Homelander serves as the quintessential benchmark superpowered antagonist. However, a key issue arises with the portrayal of other superheroes who possess similar powers without clear distinctions in their power levels. This lack of clarity creates inconsistencies in how characters are depicted as weaker or stronger, leading to a sense of unearned progression and diminishing Homelander's role as the benchmark character. At times, he seems unstoppable, while in other instances, it appears that the other superheroes could rival him. This ambiguity makes it difficult to determine who is definitely the strongest. While this ambiguity might be intentional to allow flexibility in character power levels, it can also result in plot holes and unsatisfactory dynamics. This phenomenon, known as nerfing, occurs when a character's abilities are diminished too easily or without sufficient justification, undermining their status and impact in the story. It's important to note that I am a fan of every series I critique, so this perspective aims to highlight strengths and weaknesses regarding this specific narrative element. While The Boys features a compelling plot, its inconsistent power scaling can leave much to be desired in terms of clarity and coherence. Personally, I appreciate how it's written because it works well for this particular series. These issues don't necessarily detract from the overall plot. In fact, they can enhance character development. However, addressing power dynamics effectively is essential to maintaining the integrity of a narrative that heavily involves a power scale and benchmark, something that many fighting series struggle to execute at this level. If you're still not convinced about the impact of inconsistent power scaling, consider the Obi-Wan Kenobi series. There's a notable instance where Obi-Wan is depicted as able to contend with Darth Vader, one of the most powerful Force users in the galaxy. However, this portrayal can undermine the established power dynamics of the Star Wars universe. A lack of a clear and consistent power hierarchy may lead to narrative weaknesses, making victories or challenges feel unearned and diminishing the depth and impact of the benchmark character, which is Darth Vader in this case. To understand this better, consider the concept of nerfing. When a character's power is portrayed inconsistently or diminished without sufficient justification, it can weaken the overall narrative. If Obi-Wan is shown as capable of matching Darth Vader's strength at times, it detracts from the weight and significance of Vader's role as the ultimate benchmark. This inconsistency can make character arcs and conflicts less impactful and satisfying for the audience. Therefore, addressing these inconsistencies in power scaling is crucial, ensuring that character strengths, victories, and defeats are portrayed in a way that feels earned and is essential for maintaining narrative integrity and resonance with the audience. As you can see, building and maintaining power scales within a narrative complex is challenging. While this issue doesn't affect the entire Star Wars extended universe, it is particularly heightened in the Obi-Wan Kenobi series. Throughout extensive research and analysis of various shows, movies, and manga, I've identified a recurring pattern in fighting series that offers a consistent approach to character progression. These three elements, while not mandatory for every story, play a significant role in creating a cohesive and engaging narrative in combat-oriented genres. Now, let's go over a positive example of respecting the power scale hierarchy, and this is evident in Revenge of the Sith, particularly in the battle between Obi-Wan Kenobi and Darth Vader, aka Anakin Skywalker. This duel effectively maintains the established power dynamics and narrative cohesion. Here's why this battle does not compromise the story's power scaling. Obi-Wan's defensive role. Throughout the battle, Obi-Wan primarily defends himself rather than trying to surpass Darth Vader. This defensive stance aligns with the established power hierarchy, where Vader is the more dominant Force user. Obi-Wan's goal is to survive and resist, ensuring that the power dynamics remain intact. Mastery and experience. As Vader's former master, Obi-Wan is portrayed as capable of holding his own due to his experience and strategic acumen. It is fitting for him to manage his former apprentice, even if only just. This portrayal respects the master-apprentice dynamic and does not undermine Vader's established power. Obi-Wan's ability to prevail is a testament to his skill and experience, not a result of nerfing Vader. Narrative coherence. The outcome of the duel fits seamlessly within the narrative's progression. Obi-Wan's victory stems from a strategically sound and emotionally charged confrontation, not from overpowering Vader. This aligns with the story's themes of redemption, tragedy, and the balance of power, maintaining cohesion without breaking the established dynamics. The Battle of Revenge of the Sith upholds the integrity of power scaling by ensuring that Obi-Wan's role as a defender, his mastery, and the narrative context all contribute to a coherent and engaging confrontation. This approach serves as a valuable example for storytelling, demonstrating how to maintain consistent power dynamics while crafting a compelling and balanced narrative. Since I don't want to make this video too long, I will stop here and pick up right where I left off at step 1. I appreciate your patience. It was essential to cover these points comprehensively to provide a clear understanding of the dynamics at play. In the meantime, I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments about your own series and any suggestions you might have. I'm still working on improving my audio and video quality, and I appreciate your patience as I continue to refine my content. Thank you for joining me on this journey, and I look forward to your feedback.